Of Alaska is joining us. He's a key member of the Senate Armed Services Committee. Senator, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, Wolf.
I want to get to tax reform shortly, but let's discuss North Korea's launch of an intercontinental ballistic missile. How much closer does this bring North Korea to actually threatening the United States with a nuclear-tipped ICBM?
Look, I mean, you know, the intelligence community has been saying it's no longer a matter of if, but when they're going to have that capability. And as General Mattis said today, this missile went higher than any other missile. So they're getting closer, but we're not, you know, just waiting for this to happen here on Capitol Hill or with the administration. You know, one thing we've been working hard on, Wolf, is a much more robust missile defense. And that was in the defense authorization bill that passed the Senate just last week. It was a bill that I authored, but we had many Republicans and Democrats. We're going to get full funding for that, but a key part of our strategy has to be a much more robust missile defense for our nation, and we're moving towards that. But this is a very troubling development.
It may be the biggest national security crisis facing the United States right now. How concerned are you, Senator, that North Korea could target your state of Alaska?
Well, I've been very concerned, not just about my great state, which is, you know, certainly in the line of fire closer than anyone else, but the entire country, which is why, you know, in Alaska, we're the cornerstone of our nation's entire missile defense. A lot of the systems that track and would shoot down missiles are based in Alaska, given our strategic location. But this is obviously a concern for everybody, and it's why we've been so focused on it. I will say, Wolf, the administration has done a good job, you know, in terms of tightening sanctions, international sanctions, UN sanctions. We need to do more, but we've done a lot already. The Chinese need to do more, but this is a troubling situation. And of course, you know, effective diplomacy needs to be backed up by credible military options. And in my discussions with Secretary Mattis, the National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, they're also looking at that. So these are all the components, more sanctions, credible military options, and more robust missile defense that needs to address this very significant threat facing our nation. Every city in America, literally.
Alaska is not too far away from North Korea. Hawaii is even closer. Hawaii is now establishing a monthly test for a nuclear missile warning system, a siren, to alert residents of an impending strike. I think it's the first time since World War II they've had this alert system go into place. Should Alaska do the same?
Well, look, I think these are the kind of civil protections that people need to look at. The good news here, though, is if you look at our efforts on missile defense over the last several decades, it's usually been a partisan issue. It's now become a bipartisan issue in terms of our capacity, in terms of what we need to spend on it. And I think it's because you're seeing a significant threat to Hawaii, to Alaska, but to everybody, Chicago, New York. So this is something that we're working on hard on the Hill. The administration's fully supportive on it, and it's very bipartisan. We need to implement much stronger missile defense, and we're doing that.
President Trump has touted his relationship with the Chinese president, President Xi, and he continues to say that Russia could be a very important part of containing North Korea. Are those relationships, Senator, having any impact on Kim Jong-un and his regime, or is this proof that the president's efforts, at least so far, have not worked?
Well, you know, you talk to the experts, and pretty much everybody agrees China's doing more than they ever have with regard to North Korea. You've had 2 unanimous UN Security Council resolutions with China and Russia's support. But my belief, Wolf, is that China needs to do more. Let me give one example. They need to cut off the oil to the North Korean regime. 90% of the oil that the regime gets comes from China. They need to take those aggressive actions with regard to energy, in addition to the significant financial sanctions that we've been encouraging the Chinese to undertake as well.
The Trump administration still has not nominated a U.S. ambassador to South Korea or an assistant secretary of state for East Asian affairs, which deals with that whole area. Does that affect the administration's ability to handle this current threat?
Look, I think it does, and I think that they need to work on that. I'm aware of some of the people that they're looking at. They would be very high quality candidates, by the way. But, you know, that's both the Trump administration. It's also here on the Hill. You've had Chuck Schumer, the Democrats, delay so many of the members of the Trump administration who need Senate confirmation. You know, at this point, during the Obama administration, almost 66% of President Obama's nominees were confirmed by the Senate. Right now, the number is about 33% with regard to the Trump administration. Those delays are not helping anybody. They're not helping the State Department. They're not helping, for example, the Department of Interior. The Senate needs to move these nominees out and get them in the federal government to help all of us.
Senator, there's more breaking news unfolding even as we speak. I got to take a quick break. We'll resume the interview right after this.